War. War never changes. In the year 1945, my great-great-grandfather, serving in the army, wondered when he'd get to go home to his wife and the son he'd never seen. He got his wish when the U.S. ended World War II by dropping atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The world awaited Armageddon. Instead, something miraculous happened. We began to use atomic energy not as a weapon, but as a nearly limitless source of power. People enjoyed luxuries once thought the realm of science fiction. Domestic robots, fusion-powered cars, portable computers. But then, in the 21st century, people awoke from the American dream. Years of consumption led to shortages of every major resource. The entire world unraveled. Peace became a distant memory. It is now the year 2077. We stand on the brink of total war. And I am afraid. For myself, for my wife, for my infant son. Because if my time in the army taught me one thing, it's that war never changes.
Made it another day in the Commonwealth. Lucky us.
Hey.
Yeah?
Hey, Hancock.
To think I ever doubted you.
Thanks. You're not so bad yourself.
I never get many complaints. It's just real rare these days. Find someone who's not willing to take things the way they're handed to them. Too many good folks not willing to get their hands dirty. And too many assholes taking advantage of it. Look at what happened at Diamond City. Before McDonough took over, it was a half-decent place to live. A little stricter than I usually go for, but not terrible. I thought he and I had a pretty happy childhood. But then he decides he's gonna try and get elected with his anti-ghoul crusade. Mankind for McDonough. Before you know it, you got families with kids lining up to drag folks they call neighbor out of their homes and throw them to the ruins.
Why did McDonough campaign against the ghouls?
Because he thought he could win. There'd always been a pretty clear divide between the folks living in the stands and those down on the field. I'm not convinced they didn't do it just to improve their view. I remember storming into his office above the stands after the inauguration speech. He was just standing there, staring out the window, watching as the city turned on the ghouls. He didn't even look at me. Just said, "I did it, John. It's finally mine." Should have killed him right there, but I don't think it would have changed anything. Instead, I pleaded with him, begged him to call it off. He said he couldn't. He had nothing against the ghouls. He was just carrying out the will of the people. And he couldn't betray the voters. And then he smiled. That hideous fucking mile-long smile. He never smiled like that when we were kids. I didn't even recognize him.
He murdered those ghouls.
Him and that whole damn city. I still wasn't a ghoul at this point, so I didn't have to leave, but I couldn't bring myself to stay in that cesspool after that. I'd been sneaking off the good neighbor for years to get decent chems, so I knew the safe routes. I managed to track down a couple of the families, lead them there, but most couldn't get used to the good neighbor lifestyle. I brought them food for a couple of weeks, but after a while, they just disappeared. Folks in Diamond City signed their death warrants, and all the good people were willing to just sit by and watch. I felt like I was the only one who saw how screwed up things truly were, who couldn't just pretend things were fine. Still feel that way. Or I did. Until I met you. I know I run my mouth, but having someone who sees the world for what it is, and is willing to do something about it, it's meant a lot to me. I feel damn lucky to have you as a friend.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of competition for the post.
You ain't lying. It's awful lonely for us folks at the top. Well, thanks for hearing me out. You probably weren't looking for a history lesson, were ya? You want to hit the road?
Hey,
Got my attention. You look like you could use this.
you should head back.
Just when we were having fun, too. Well, you know where to find me. Let's get this caravan moving.
Next is some cold order.
Instruments read all clear. We're green for takeoff. Your weapon is locked and loaded. Good hunting. I'm bringing her in. Hang on to something.
I have a situation I need to report.
All right. I'm listening.
I found a group of escaped synths.
All right. You have my attention. Tell me everything you know.
There's a synth calling itself Dima, gathering followers in Acadia.
It's renamed itself? You mean it's acting autonomously? What are you going on about?
They're trying to set up some kind of permanent place for themselves, outside the Institute.
So this isn't an Institute operation? Well, that makes it even worse. I'm starting to see why you brought this to me. What else can you tell me?
Acadia has been turned into a fortified location, hiding escaped synths.
They're actively defending themselves, in other words. All right. I've heard enough. You were right to bring this to my attention. I'll see that the matter is raised with Elder Maxson as soon as possible. If he wants to eradicate this menace, we'll need time to refit vertibirds for extended flight. I'll get the crews to work. In the meantime, any additional intelligence you can gather will help ensure that the action we take is precise and coordinated. Do not engage these synths until we're prepared. Understood?
Is there anything— Come back here! I haven't even given you the full details of your assignment.
The squires we're assigning to you have yet to see serious combat, so be on the lookout.
Elder.
Is there anything you wish to tell me, Knight?
Am I being accused of something?
That remains to be seen. Proctor Quinlan completed the decryption of the data you retrieved from the Institute. A portion of his findings included a list of synths that went missing or escaped from their underground facility. After careful analysis of the information, we've discovered something unprecedented. Paladin Danse is a perfect match for one of the synths on that list.
The data must be faulty.
The findings have been validated by multiple sources. Quinlan wouldn't have brought this to me if he wasn't 100% certain of the results. The data you brought back included a record of each subject's DNA. We keep the same information on file for all of our soldiers. Paladin Dance's DNA is a perfect match for a synth they called M797. To make matters worse, he's gone AWOL. Disappeared without a trace. His sudden absence simply reinforces our conclusion that M797 and Paladin Danse are one and the same. I'm finding it difficult to believe that he never confided in you, and then swore you to secrecy.
After everything I've done for the Brotherhood, you have some nerve accusing me of lying.
Your outburst leads me to believe I've misjudged you, which means I've decided to take you at your word. However, that doesn't absolve you of your duty. Danse is a synth. He represents everything we hate, a monstrosity of technology. Our mission in the Commonwealth is clear. The Institute and its creations need to be destroyed in order to preserve our future, which leaves me facing the most difficult order I've ever given. I'm ordering you to hunt down Danse and execute him.
With pleasure. I'll make him pay for lying to us.
I appreciate your cooperation. Listen, I'm not blind to the fact that Danse was your mentor, and this isn't an easy burden to bear. But if we're to remain strong, we can't afford to make exceptions. Even when it means executing one of our own. Find Proctor Quinlan. He's been analyzing the data and should be able to provide you with a starting point. And Knight, There's a promotion for you riding on the results of these orders. So don't disappoint me. You're dismissed.
Attention! Any soldiers who have not yet received a field assignment from Proctor Tegan should speak to him at once. That is all.
Proctor Quinlan.
Oh, Knight. I was told you were coming. Sorry about this business with Dance.
What do you know about this situation?
While I was decrypting all of the data you acquired from within the Institute, I came across a list. It appears that the Institute keeps exemplary records where their synths are concerned, including logging those that were reported missing. As I was perusing this list, I came across an image of Dance under the heading M797. A quick DNA comparison with our own records told the rest of the tale. I'm certain this comes as quite a shock to you, Knight. I'm sorry.
He'll be missed.
Doubtful. I wouldn't miss a synth any sooner than I'd miss a transistor radio. I was merely sorry that you'd been duped. No matter. I've been poring over Dance's duty reports, and unfortunately, I haven't found any concrete information. As you're well aware, Dance had intimate knowledge of the Commonwealth, and I'm afraid he could be seeking refuge anywhere. I think our best approach would be to identify every location he's ever visited and eliminate them as possibilities one by one. You may want to get comfortable. This could take quite a bit of...
What the hell is this crap about Dance being a synth?
I assume your outburst was a reference to some doubt regarding Dance's identity. I can assure you that my findings are quite accurate, Scribe.
So he sets Dance up, and then you knock him down. Is that it?
Orders are orders.
Orders are orders? That's all you have to say? I can't believe that after everything Paladin Dance did for you, you're just gonna turn your back on him like this. There's obviously been a mistake, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Scribe Halen! You're addressing a senior officer, and you will show him the respect that he's due. Or so help me, I'll have you brought up on charges. Now, unless you're here with information that can assist us, I suggest you return to the police station immediately.
Of course. My apologies, Proctor. I believe I have some information that's relevant to the search.
Very well then. Would you care to enlighten us? Or do we have to wait until you decide to grace us with your knowledge?
Knight, if you'd accompany me to the flight deck, I'd like to show you the information I've compiled firsthand. I've stored the data on my Vertibird gunship's computer.
At this point, I'll take all the help I can get.
Very good, sir.
Proceed, Knight. I'll continue doing my research here.
If you'll follow me, sir.
Excuse me, Scribe Halen.
This way.
Scribe?
Do you actually plan on killing Paladin Dance?
That's a risky question, Halen.
I know it is, but I need you to listen to me for a minute. I've known Paladin Dance ever since I was an initiate. He trained me, showed me the ropes, and when I screwed up, he taught me to dust myself off and move on. He's earned my admiration, my respect, and my friendship. I don't care what Quinlan's report says. I don't care if he's a machine or not. He's still Dance.
Why are you telling me all of this?
Because someone has to before you rush off and carry out Maxon's orders without thinking about what you're doing. Dance is the most selfless person I've ever met. I've watched him risk his own life based on nothing more than principle alone. That's why I'm asking you. Not just as a member of the Brotherhood, but as a human being. Give him a chance. Let him tell his side of the story. If you're not convinced by what he says, or somehow he's become truly lost to us, then you do what you have to do.
All right, I'll hear him out.
That's all that I ask. I'll just have to trust that when the time comes, you'll do the right thing. Before the Pribwin showed up, Dance had me identify a fallback point if we ever lost the police station. It was Listening Post Bravo, an old pre-war US military outpost on the northern frontier of the Commonwealth. It's isolated, and we're the only ones that knew about it. So, there's a good chance that's where he's headed. Just be careful. There's no telling what state of mind he's in right now, or if he trusts any of us at all.
Going down. Hostile target detected.
Hi.
I'm not surprised Maxon sent you. He never liked to do the dirty work himself.
I wish you would have told me the truth, Dance.
I might have, if I'd known what I was. Until Quinlan got that list decoded, I thought synths were the enemy. I never expected to hear that I was one of them. If it wasn't for Halen, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. So, what are your orders? Does Maxon even want me alive?
Of course not. Synths are the enemy, remember?
All too well. Look, I'm not blind to the fact that this must be difficult for you. I wish Maxon had sent someone else, but that doesn't change a thing. I'm a synth, which means I need to be destroyed. If you disobey your orders, you're not only betraying Maxon, you're betraying the Brotherhood of Steel and everything it stands for. Synths can't be trusted. Machines were never meant to make their own decisions. They need to be controlled. Technology that's run amok is what brought the entire world to its knees, and humanity to the brink of extinction. I need to be the example, not the exception.
If you really feel that way, why did you run in the first place?
The moment I learned the truth, I knew my life was in danger. I'm a soldier, so self-preservation kicked in. I needed to regroup and assess the situation. Once I got here, and I had some time to think, I realized I'd just made everything worse. I should have stayed on the Prydwen and accepted the inevitable. Like I said, I need to be the example, not the exception.
I see you've calculated all the variables, just like a machine.
Your anger simply proves my point. I'm ready to accept the consequences of my true identity. Maxon's ordered you to execute me, and I'll be damned if I'm going to stand in your way.
If it needs to be done, then so be it.
I've never been prouder of you than I am right now, brother. It's been a pleasure serving with you.
Going up. Ground floor.
Charging into a situation guns blazing is a good way to get yourself killed.
Sir.
Report, Knight. Have you handled the situation with Paladin Dance?
Do you want his holotags as proof?
That won't be necessary. Perhaps you should keep them as a reminder of your lapse in vigilance. Of course, Dance's execution creates a missing link in our chain of command. That traitor held quite an important position with us. I'm certain that you'll make a fine replacement. His quarters and all his possessions are now yours, including his personal suit of power armor. Congratulations, Paladin.
I'm honored, Elder.
You've earned it by your own actions. Just be aware that a Brotherhood Paladin is expected to be a symbol of integrity to our brothers and sisters. I trust you won't disappoint them, or disappoint me. In any event, We still have the Institute to contend with, and a lot of work to do before we can begin our final assault. While the finishing touches are being put onto Liberty Prime, Captain Kells has identified a potential threat to our operations. Report to him immediately for your next assignment. Ad Victoriam, Paladin.
Proximity sensor's green. Getting a 3-second pingback.
System deltas at 100%. Secondary deltas standing by.